Honor was the lifeblood of Mongol society. Under the vast night sky, oaths were often sealed in blood, and betrayal was a fate worse than death. Genghis Khan forged a strict code of law, the yasa, to bind his people together. He forbade the selling of women, theft, fighting among the Mongols, and even hunting animals during breeding season, a radical attempt to impose order on the wild steppe. Obedience was absolute. Those of high rank were expected to endure the same hardships as commoners, and even a minor lapse in discipline could be met with the death penalty. For example, a warrior who failed to pick up something his comrade dropped during a march might pay with his life, a harsh lesson in unity. Such draconian discipline welded the Mongols into a single, unbreakable force, united by fear as much as loyalty. In this world, blood demanded blood. The Mongols believed that an insult or injury could only be answered in kind. If a clan member was slain, his kin were honor-bound to avenge him. Genghis Khan himself exemplified this unforgiving ethic. As a young man, he swore vengeance on the Tatar tribe that had poisoned his father. Years later, after rising to power, he fulfilled that vow without mercy, ordering that every Tatar male taller than a wagon's axle be executed. Such was justice on the steppe. Mercy was scarce, reserved only for those who displayed unwavering loyalty. To break a vow of loyalty, to show cowardice or disobey the Khan's command, was to forfeit one's life. Even close companions could not expect forgiveness for treachery. Genghis famously said it was better to have a fierce enemy than a faithless friend. In Mongol culture, honor and obedience were survival itself, and they were enforced with an iron hand. The price of failure or betrayal was paid in blood, a grim reminder that the Khan's law had to be upheld, no matter the cost. Dawn breaks, and an army of riders surges forward like a tide across the plain. Each Mongol warrior is a master horseman and archer, trained since childhood to fight in the saddle. Their entire way of war is built on speed and mobility. Each mounted archer had 4 or 5 horses and could switch mounts to keep them fresh, allowing a Mongol force to cover 60 or more miles in a single day. Distances that left their enemies eating dust. Communication is done with flags by day and torches by night, as units coordinate across vast distances. There is no ponderous supply train dragging behind this horde. The Mongols carry everything they need on horseback. War for them was a rapid whirlwind, not a slow march. These warriors attack with a deadly efficiency that astonishes the foes who face them. A storm of arrows announces their arrival. The Mongol composite bow, crafted from wood, horn, and sinew, could punch an arrow through armor at 500 yards, easily beating the weapons of sedentary armies. Mongol horsemen circle and flank at full gallop, firing in all directions. They can even shoot accurately backward at a pursuing enemy while at a full sprint, a feat few others could even imagine. Their tactics are built on deception and sudden strike. A favorite ploy is the feigned retreat, drawing pursuers into an ambush where fresh Mongol cavalry await. To the Mongols, battle is not a static clash of infantry, but a fluid dance of horse and bow. The thunder of hooves and the whistling of arrows are the soundscape of conquest. In one moment, the steppe is empty. In the next, it erupts with thousands of charging riders appearing as if from nowhere. Life as a Mongol warrior means constant motion and brutal endurance. From sunup to sundown, they remain on horseback, often for weeks on campaign. They eat, drink, and even sleep in the saddle. Fires for cooking are a luxury during a fast advance. Many days there is no time for a hot meal at all. Instead, soldiers subsist on dried meat and curds carried in pouches. Marco Polo marveled that Mongol riders could go 10 days on the move without lighting a fire or taking a regular meal, sustaining themselves on mare's milk and even drinking their horse's blood in extreme need. It sounds like legend, a column of fierce nomads galloping out of the rising sun, tireless and unrelenting. In truth, it was the product of lifelong training and a culture that prized mobility and resilience above all. To ride with the Mongol horde was to wage war at a pace and intensity unheard of in those times, a pace that would break any ordinary soldier in a day. Not all Mongol deaths came at the edge of a sword. For every warrior slain in battle, many more fell victim to nature's wrath. The Mongols lived at the mercy of the elements, and in the 13th century steppe, the unseen enemies of disease, hunger, and exposure were ever present. Winter on the steppe could descend like a killer in the dark. Temperatures plummet below -40, and blizzards seal the grasslands under ice. A single disastrous winter, known as a dzud, could wipe out entire herds. Some herders have lost 100% of their livestock in one brutal season. With their animals dead, families would face starvation. Even the great Genghis Khan experienced such hardship in his youth. His small family, cast out by their clan, survived in extreme poverty, eating roots and fish instead of the normal nomad diet. Starvation was a familiar specter. A bad year or an ill-timed snowstorm could mean the difference between life and death on the steppe. Disease too stalked the Mongol camps. Thousands of people and animals living in close quarters created breeding grounds for sickness. There was no understanding of germs. Illness was a mysterious curse that could kill as surely as any arrow. They never washed their clothes, believing that doing so would anger the spirits and cause thunderstorms, so grime and parasites were constant companions. An infected wound, a bout of dysentery from spoiled food, or a lingering cough in winter could turn fatal without proper treatment. Mongol healers did what they could with herbal balms and cauterization, but often it was not enough. Decades after Genghis Khan, the Black Death would ride along Mongol trade routes and decimate entire populations, Mongols included. A grim reminder that even these fierce warriors were not immune to plague and pestilence. Finally, there was exposure, the unforgiving extremes of weather that tested even the hardiest. In summer, relentless heat and thirst could push a rider to collapse. In winter, falling asleep unprotected in the open could mean never waking up. Frostbite claimed fingers and toes. Eyes could go snowblind from the sun's glare on endless snow. A warrior might survive battle only to freeze to death in a sudden blizzard on the long ride home. The Mongols were tough and prepared. They wore thick furs, knew how to find shelter, and carried flints to start fires. But the environment allowed no mistakes. To live on the steppe, one had to respect and fear its fury. In the world of the Mongols, nature was an enemy as deadly as any army, always ready to strike down the weak or the unlucky without warning. In Mongol society, failure was not an option, and the price of failure was often fatal. A warrior who showed cowardice, disobeyed orders, or faltered in his duty could expect no pity and no honor in death. The Mongols enforced a brutal philosophy: better to die bravely than live as a failure. The army was organized with ruthless precision. Troops were grouped in squads of 10, 100, 1,000, and so on, each man accountable to the others. Discipline was so extreme that if even one soldier fled, it might mean execution for his entire squad, a terrifying incentive never to break ranks. Indeed, desertion or cowardice was punishable by death without exception. Genghis Khan demanded absolute loyalty and courage. Even a hint of fear or hesitation in battle could seal a man's fate. For Mongol commanders, the stakes were just as high. A general who lost a battle or failed the Khan faced dire consequences. Some were stripped of rank and sent home in disgrace, the lucky ones. Others paid with their lives. History records that Genghis Khan did not hesitate to execute high-ranking officers, even his own sons-in-law, for military failures that brought him dishonor. To the Mongols, a leader who failed had earned death without glory. No noble remembrance, just an ignominious end. There was no gentle retirement, no second chance for those who let down the Khan. On the rare occasion that a Mongol force was defeated or a warrior captured, the outcome was grim. Captivity was considered worse than death. Mongols would often fight to the last man rather than surrender and live in shame. In their culture, a life ended in disgrace earned no songs or honors, only silence. The bodies of traitors or coward might be left for the crows, their names scorned and forgotten by their people. As the sun sets on blood-stained snow, we are left with a sobering truth. In the Mongol world, survival came at the cost of relentless excellence. Every single day demanded toughness, obedience, and courage beyond what most people could muster. Those who failed even once met a swift and merciless end. After witnessing the brutal extremes of Mongol life, the freezing winters, the unforgiving code of honor, the ceaseless war in motion, and the fatal price of any misstep, one cannot help but feel awe. It becomes starkly clear that for ordinary people like us, we wouldn't last a day among the Mongol.